Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. Sorry for the delay, a little bit slow today because I was getting all the playtest stuff working. But yeah, the Alchemortis playtest is live right now for everybody, so if you want to try it, just head on over to the Steam page, which is linked below. There's this big join request access button. It says request access, but the way it works is that when you click this button, it just immediately adds it to your library. So you will get instant access to it when you click this button. And yeah, while you're here, you could give the game a wish list. If you haven't already, I would very much appreciate that. You can also support the game on Patreon if you like what you see, if you like the playtest and you want to support the development as I work towards finishing the game. The sponsor tier here, if you subscribe for at least 1 month, you will get an Alchemortis Steam key at launch, which means you won't need to buy the game on Steam, and you will have your name listed in the in-game Alchemortis credits. So that's a nice way of getting your name attached to the game, and also it's a great way to support me. You can also check out my Udemy courses. Those will teach you how to build complete games in the Godot engine. And what else? I think that's it. So let's get right into what we're doing. But before we do, hello Clickertail, welcome back. RN Genesis, good morning to you. Good morning, Ninja Link. How are you doing? Good morning, Chris. Playtest day, yes indeed. Thank you, Snupbill, for the IDR 10,000. Very much appreciated, as always. With the message, yummers. Thank you, welcome back. Hello, Celestial Beagle, good afternoon to you. I tested, can you add a master bus volume that the two audio buses pass through that has a master volume slider in the settings? Yeah, I could do that. Hello, Woobius. Welcome. Good to see you. Okay, what are we working on? I was working on doing a run overview screen. So it's a little bit messy because it's in progress right now, but trying to tie together the end of a run more appropriately with little bit of a run overview screen here. Still in progress, of course, but the idea is that when you die or when you defeat a boss, and actually I didn't really think about the defeating the last boss case, but when you die and you come to this screen, it will show your character, it will show all the artifacts you had, it will show you a bunch of your stats about the run, so you get a final chance to look over everything. This will not happen automatically. So when you die and you have no resurrection stones, what I'm going to do is just show the resurrection event again and just tell the player, hey, you have no resurrection stones. And that the reason I'm going to do that is because that will give you an opportunity to look at your last combat log as well. So you're not going to be sent to this screen automatically. It's always going to happen as a result of you either abandoning the run from the pause menu or by explicitly clicking the end run button on the resurrection side of things. So I don't want the player to feel like they're missing any information. Like if you die, you'll have an opportunity to review the combat log, and then you click the end run button, and that will bring you to this screen, which is just like re-showing you what you had in your boards, as well as what artifacts you had. And then there are going to be various stats here. This is not the entire list of stats that's going to be present. And then, of course, we have to make this more visually appealing, which I have some ideas for. We might experiment with some of that VFX today. But, yeah, that's kind of what we got going on. It's very much work in progress, but I think it's shaping up so far. And, of course, there needs to be like an exit to menu button here. Not a whole lot of screen real estate going on here, because this board could be very tall, too. So that's going to potentially be a problem. But we'll see. Hello, Emerson. Welcome back. Good to see you. And there could be different layouts for this as well. Like everything is centered right now, but I could see it changing in some way. Anyway, we'll have to figure that out later, but the most important thing, oh my gosh, the cats are just freaking tearing through the house right now. So the most important thing is that we're getting all the information shown. So anyway, what I want to do here is I want to prevent this from automatically going to this screen. So if I go to my run manager, resurrection stones. So this one, we're going to get rid of this actually. So this would emit end run requested immediately. We're going to get rid of that. We're always going to go to the resurrection event. We're going to go to the resurrection container here. Let's add a clickable validator to this. Receptacle, clickable control dot add clickable validator. Resurrection stones greater than 0. And then we'll do receptacle clickable control dot invalid clicked plus equals on receptacle invalid clicked. I guess we'll group these together. Okay, so on receptacle invalid clicked. You have no resurrection stones, and then we're going to do receptacle canvas group dot play invalid shake tween. How do I do that? Oh, it's create invalid shake tween. There we go. Okay, let's see if that works. I have to figure out what to do on victory though. Yeah, there's gonna be a little bit of a different thing, but that's okay. Alrighty, so let's just go ahead and die. Resurrection comes in. We resurrect. And then come back here, die again. And then you end the run. That goes into your end run overview. There are no stats here because it's detecting that I didn't do any damage. Probably just show everything that I'm going to show anyway and just put zeros there, but the more directional board is a lot better. Awesome. Glad you like it. Yeah. I think the directional map solves just so many problems at once and is just easier to balance around. I mean, that's one of the problems that it solves, but yeah. So free roam map is gone, but I think the directional board is a lot better, so. And I can still, like, you know, there are still ways to backtrack, and I can still introduce new ways to backtrack, so yeah, I think it'll be good. I think it will be good. All right, so that flow is working properly now. There's a lot of work to do here, but that's done. Alrighty, so I do need to animate the artifacts coming in. So these just kind of appear here. Trying to think about what the sequencing should be and how do I actually animate those? That's a good question. Let's see, artifact display. Animate from, oh, I can do animate from, interesting. Why is this awaited? Okay, this doesn't need to be awaited, so let's get rid of this. My cat is just like losing his mind right now. Okay. So we've got animate from. I probably want to update this. Let's do float delay. Is this gonna work? I guess I shouldn't have inlined those things. Okay, so animate from, so then if we go to the run overview here, run overview. Hello, Kanik, welcome, welcome. Wish everyone here a pleasant day. Thank you. I hope you have a pleasant day as well. Set up artifacts here. So for each of our artifact, register artifact display, and then we're gonna do artifact display dot animate from. We're gonna do let's see. This can be replaced with tween position. Wonder if I could just do this. Artifact display, well. Let's just do this. This is just gonna be is local from position equals false. This has to be icon.position. Okay, so what I should be able to do here now is I should be able to do animate from, let's just do vector2.up times 64. Delay, let's just do var total delay is equal to, let's just put in like a slight delay of 0.5. Const float delay increase. Delay increase. Oh, total delay plus equals delay increase. Total delay and then true. All right, let's see if that works. It seems to work. I think I might just increase this delay a little bit here. So yeah, we're just getting the animations in place here. I might increase this, actually. Might be satisfying to see your artifacts coming down. A little bit slower. Nice. So what happens if I have like a lot of artifacts here? Let's give that a shot. Nice. That's pretty cool. I think I set this up to wrap properly if there's a lot of artifacts. Probably not going to be that possible to get this many artifacts in a run, but that doesn't work. Let's do global target is equal to, shoot. I guess we could just increase this a little bit. I don't need to be super particular about the exact offsets there, but that should work. Yeah, that seems fine to me. Cool. Okay. All right. So this screen is not super visually appealing here, but hello, Bad Tutor Nick. Hey, when is the release date? To be determined. Sometime this year, but no release. I haven't started the marketing effort yet for building up the wish list, so the release date is probably going to largely be determined by the marketing effort and how that's going. Going to drop any new courses soon? I am not, no. There will be no new courses before Alchemortis is released. This is the only thing that I'm working on at the moment. So yeah. I have a button for my pixel art game and I'm applying a texture to it on it with regions. However, since my game is pixel art, the border is only around 2 pixels compared to the whole button, which is like nothing. Took one of your Udemy courses and you mentioned something to work around that, but I couldn't find it. Are you talking about like the 9 patch rect? Is that what you're talking about with the regions? Border's only around 2 pixels compared to the whole button, which is like nothing. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the problem is. If you want, Kanik, you can join the Discord and post in the game dev channel. And I'll see if I can see what I don't know exactly what the problem is right now. So if you could attach like screenshots or something, I may be able to help you. Hello, Pocket Pixie, welcome back. Or Pocket Pixel now. Welcome back, good to see you. Same game, yes indeed, same game. David Martinez Leon Rune. Welcome. How do you do your pixel art? As a programmer, I find the graphic design part pretty difficult. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a difference between like the art and the visual design and also the UI. Like there's like 3 different disciplines, right? There's like the UX, UI design. Then there's the actual skill of like drawing things like characters and whatnot. And then there's like the visual design or like the art direction, which is like, how does everything look as a whole, right? I kind of view those as like 3 separate skill sets because you could be really good at drawing sprites, right? But if you're not good at like creating a coherent visual style and you're not good at UI design, like being good at drawing individual pieces of art is not going to be sufficient, right? So, I mean, I think UI, UX is still a weak point for me. I find that usually the way that I get that done is I just go through many iterations of it and I just try to refine it over time. I very rarely get like UI, UX correct the first time, which is, you know, part of it is just learning what to do and what not to do through trial and error. The visual, like the art direction or like the overall visual design, visual style of the game, I find that adopting constraints helps with that. Like setting up rules for yourself is a good way of doing that. So for instance, my rule here is that, you know, obviously in addition to the typical pixel art rules of like not mixing texel sizes and all that stuff, I'm also just rigidly adhering to an 8 color palette. And then there are certain ways that I draw everything. So I try to like match the style when I'm drawing other pieces of art to like what I've already done. And then the pixel art part itself is just a matter of like, you know, again, practice, like draw a sprite, try to figure out what's not working, what you did wrong, play with the colors, play with the shapes, watch other pixel art tutorials, and just try to study other games that have good pixel art styles and figure out like how they're doing their art. So I don't know if that helps, but should I put suggestions or feedback channel? Suggestions is more for like if you have suggestions for new content or like quality of life fixes. Like suggestions would be for things that like you actually have an idea of what can be in the game, whereas feedback would be more for like, I feel like the game is too easy for this reason, or I feel like managing my inventory is a little bit difficult, or like the quick move doesn't work that well, or I was expecting this to happen and this happened instead, or this interaction is not clear, right? That said, like I'm not gonna be like super strict about it. Like you're not gonna get banned if you put something that is feedback related in suggestions. So just, yeah, I would say feel free to put it wherever you think is best, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. You're welcome. You are welcome. Okay. So there are some interesting things that I want to do here with this screen. Make it a little bit more visually appealing. I was thinking about doing something a little bit radical. So I have that trail component that exists in the resurrection container here. So when I click this, I have no resurrection stones. Gee dang it. Gee dang it. Let's do this. Oh, do I not have a current? I think I need to create, hold on a second. Let me set this up properly. This, or let's do game debug.create currency manager node parent. This currency manager dot add resurrection stones. Let's just do, yeah, we'll just do one. So those little wispy things there, I want to introduce those into the run overview screen, but I was thinking about making big, fat, wispy ones and putting them like in the foreground and background and see how that works. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit tricky, I guess, but I was thinking I could create like a layered sort of like wispiness. I almost want it to feel like you're kind of like in like some other plane, like you've died, right? So it's like you're in Hades or something. You're like obviously in some kind of like spirit realm now. Without making that super explicit, just give like the impression of like this is not part of the normal world. And I wonder if I can accomplish that by just using those trail components in a clever way. And we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out if that's the case or not, but let's see. So let's add a marker 2D. Let's do this. Let's just put it down here. We're gonna do foreground trail 1 root. Okay, let's instantiate a child scene. We're going to do trail component here. We're going to do foreground trail 1 placeholder. Load this as a placeholder. Segment lifetime, we're going to turn this up. Max segment distance, we can turn that up as well. Okay, so we've got the points here. Let's turn the width like way up. Even more than that. 32. I might even make that bigger. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I have no idea if this is going to work, but it was something I was interested in trying, so we will see. We're going to change this. We're going to make this unique recursive. And then the gradient here, this is going to be... We'll keep it white. This is going to be orange, actually. And then this one is going to be red. All right, let me just get a feel for how that's looking first before I go too much further. Foreground trail 1 placeholder. Okay, so we're going to do this. Private instance placeholder. Foreground trail 1 placeholder. I guess we could set up a timer here. Add child node random timer. We'll set this min wait time to 0.25, max wait time 0.5. We'll just do auto start here. Okay, so we've got the random timer. I'm pretty sure auto start. Start random. Oh, maybe I don't want auto start. All right, I need to redo that random timer class, I think. I wonder... I don't know. That's not worth thinking about. I wonder if I should just do a C# implementation of that. Anywho. So we've got random timer. We do need a string name for the start random. Private static read-only string name start random. Okay, so on ready, let's do call start random. Random timer dot timeout plus equals on timer timeout. Spawn foreground trail. Var trail as trail component. Var tween is equal to trail.global position. Oh, let's do tween global position trail.global position plus vector2 dot oh, we want to do trail, then to position. Let's do new vector2. Trail.global position.x, I guess. Then negative 100. I guess that's fine. I guess we'll see what happens. I'm just kind of curious to see what that's going to look like. It may not look that great, but we'll see. Just finished a run. I fear you have a banger on your hands. Ooh, just what I wanted to hear. Oh, that looks terrible. Let's change. Let's turn it down. I'm glad you like it, though. I'm glad you like it. I'm very happy to hear that. So we'll try this instead. Maybe this isn't going to work the way I wanted it to. I could do smaller wisps. Or I could just make them a solid color, perhaps. I could also add, potentially, a shader to them to give them a little bit more visual motion, but I think, I mean, this might work. Let's see. So obviously I'm not going to have them going straight up. I'm going to have them like weaving around, kind of like the resurrection things. But yeah, maybe that's just not working. Let's do, let's turn it down again. We may be able to make something work here. One of the problems is that they're just going in a straight line, so because there's no motion here, that's going to be a problem. Do we want to do... Probably do some kind of like sine wave, I guess. Probably do some kind of sine wave. Hello, old Pacheco. Welcome back. We are working on the run overview screen, and it's not going that well, but it's time for game day once again. Hello, Jagged Daytona. Welcome back. Junie, hello, welcome. Hello, Kinyaz. Welcome. Good to see you. I actually just closed the Alchemortis to go watch on YouTube. That's all right. I like the sound effects. Thank you. Anyway, I can listen to the OST. I think, so my friend is still doing some tweaking on the tracks, and he's actually working on a new track right now for the shop. I'm going to screenshot your comment and send it to him because he'll appreciate that. But he's working on some shop music right now. But I think the plan is when the game gets close to release, or when the game is released, I think we'll just create like a little Spotify album or something, or I may even just make the tracks available for download somewhere so you could just have local files. I'm not that concerned about people stealing the music or anything. So yeah, I'll definitely figure out a way to make that listenable for you guys. The interesting thing too is I have the high quality version. So the way that the workflow works, the way that the sounds work in this game generally is that the sounds are, if they're WAV files, they are done at half of the sample rate as normal. So instead of 44,100 hertz, they are 22,050 hertz. And what that does is that creates a much like chunkier lo-fi sound. And then for the music, what we do is we have like the high quality versions. And then what I do is I actually go and convert it to a 64 kilobit per second MP3. And then I resave it again as a wave because I just want all my sound effects to be in wave files. And so it creates a very like kind of lo-fi, kind of retro-esque feeling. And so anyway, I bring all that up to say, I can make the high quality versions available too, so you can hear what they sound like without that, I guess you could call it post-processing done. And then also the in-game versions as well. But yeah, anyway, I don't know why I went on that tangent. I guess I just think it's interesting. Love the video about the rendering server, very helpful. Awesome. Glad you like it, Anmol. And welcome to the stream, good to see you. Hello, Royal Munjask, welcome back, good to see you. So the question is, how do I tween along a sine wave? I mean, we could just ask Claude to do it, but actually, you know what I'll do? I'll just borrow the steering behaviors. So let me... We have the Resurrection Ghost here. One thing that I could do is I could actually just use the Resurrection Ghost again. Okay, I think I might refactor this. Resurrection Ghost, trail component. Let's see what we got here. This extends a line to D. Ready, process, enable. So what I could do is I could I'm not going to make it that complicated. Let's just copy paste. I am going to need to make it. Okay, let's do this actually. Scene. This is like the first inherited scene that I'm going to have. Effect. Let's do run overview ghost. Oh, wait a minute. Trail component. Run overview ghost. I think I did this wrong again. Okay. That's fine. Scenes, effect. Boom. Save that there. Scripts. Run overview ghost. We're just going to copy and paste from the resurrection ghost here. So let's grab this, grab that, run overview ghost. Okay. All right. So let's just do this real quick. So go to resurrection container. Nope, not resurrection container. Okay. Let's copy this. We're going to paste this in here. Paste. We're going to delete this. Instantiate the run overview ghost. There. Access is unique name. This needs to be a placeholder. Okay. Oh, I didn't rename this. Okay. All right, so run overview canvas layer. We have the run overview ghost here. As run overview ghost. Okay, and then I need to call start from spawn origin. Let's just get rid of this. Current center position is equal to global position. We're going to get rid of these. We're not going to do a cone shape on this anymore. Okay. Oops. All right, let's just see what that does. I don't know if that's going to work at all, but let's see. Hi, just watch your new video and ask a question here and then see you live. Can I copy that question here as ask as well? Sure. You can ask for sure. Be careful with MP3 files. Every time I convert a song to MP3, it adds a little empty space right at the start. Always breaks my music loops. I don't think that's a problem I'm using. I just use Audacity to do it, and it seems to be fine. So it's not really a conversion. It's more like a re-export. Oh, I didn't load this as a placeholder. You start at negative 90 degrees and go to 90? Not really sure. Oh. Is there a reason why that's not working now? Yeah, for the sine wave, I don't know. I think, well, so if I wanted to do a tween along a sine wave, the tween would have to be expressed in terms of a percentage down the line. So I would tween from 0 to 1, and then I would have to identify, like, based on the total length of the sine wave, where on the wave it would be. I'm sure there's a clever way to do it, but I'm not that talented. I don't know if that's a me thing or general, but that in that case, yeah. Start at 0 degrees and interpolate until 180 degrees or radians. Oh, I guess that would work. Is there something like canvas item set parent, but instead of set to other canvas item, I want to attach it to some body, RID, and physics server? I'm not sure, because the rendering stuff that I did not hook into the rendering server, so I actually don't know the answer to that question. I know that that's a very common combination of things. For example, for bullet hells, where you have the rendering server doing all the bullet rendering, and then you're hooking into the physics server directly for the same reason, because you don't want to have a bunch of Area 2D nodes. You just want to create the physics bodies directly on the physics server. But how you couple those things so that the visual position matches the physics position, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, if there isn't a way of doing it in Godot, what I would probably do is just create like my own object called, like, let's say you're making a bullet hell. I would create my own object called bullet, it would store a reference to whatever canvas item RIDs it's responsible for, and it would also store a reference to the physics body RID. And then in a custom loop, so like let's just say I have a class called Bullet Manager, I would just iterate over all of those bullet objects and make sure to update the position of the area as well as the position of the visuals in lockstep. So that's how I would do it. If there's no way to directly couple them in Godot, that's what I would do. And I suspect there probably isn't a way to directly couple them in Godot, because Godot doesn't do that by default anyway, because the physics process happens on the physics frame, typically speaking, every it's 1/60th of a second, 60 frames per second. And I think what Godot is doing under the hood is it's just updating the physics body in accordance with whatever root it has. But I don't know. Maybe that's not true. Physics. Is there like a physics server 2D? Oh, there you go. Area attach canvas instance ID. That's probably what you want. Yeah. I think that'll work. I just went through all that. I could have just read the documentation. So yeah, it looks like you could just do this. So if you have an area RID and you have the ID of the canvas item you want to attach it to, you can also attach it to object, attach object instance ID. So yeah, I would look at that. There you go. There's your way of directly coupling those things. So yeah, just read through the physics server 2D documentation. I'm assuming you're doing 2D, but yeah, this one looks like what you want here. You can just tween the X value and the Y value. Yeah, I don't know. You can directly control the node you want without instancing it. Yeah, I get it from AI. I have a question. When I have 2 cards with Swarm and Hover 1, it highlights the other, but when I have 3 cards and Hover 1, it highlight flickers between the other 2. Why does it do that? So yeah, that could probably be improved, but the reason is because Swarm only targets one other card with Swarm randomly. So the way that I indicate a random selection is that the highlight just bounces around to show that it's only going to highlight one at a time, but it also shows all the possible targets as it's bouncing around. Good morning, the malicious rabbit. Good to see you. Maybe this interval is not high enough. Let's see why this doesn't work. Why this isn't working. That makes sense. I didn't realize that I've targeted only one card. Good to know. Thanks, I will look into that. Yeah, you're welcome. Why is this not happening? Why is this not rendering? Oh, am I not calling start on it? Maybe that's why. I think I need to call start. Yeah. Also, I'm still tweening it. What am I doing? What am I even doing? I feel a bit slow today. I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe I just feel slow every day. Ooh, okay. Now we got something going. So we could probably randomize the width a little bit here. I am going to make it a little bit thicker. Ran the wrong instance again award. Okay, let's see. Does that feel like 10 seconds to you? That doesn't feel like 10 seconds to me. I think I changed the wrong number, probably. Wrong. Let's do this. Oh, here. Randef range. Oh, I think it's still randomizing the size, actually. Default width, yeah, let's do 8 to 12 here. Segment lifetime, let's make these longer. Let's do 0.4 to 0.8. Okay, let's try that. What's your thoughts on using interfaces in C#, more specifically using them as components for classes? Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I mean, I think it's like anything else, like you don't want to overuse it. I definitely think you don't want to overuse it, but yeah, I mean, I'm using interfaces all the time. Like, if I have certain abilities that just need to do something specific, I will just put an interface on them, and then I can filter, like, get all the card abilities that implement this interface, and then I know that I can do that. So for example, one of my interfaces is iTarget Provider. This is an interface that basically tells me anything that implements this has targets, and I can just get those targets whenever I need to. So if I need to, for example, target other swarm cards, right? If I call get targets, I know that if I call that on like the swarm ability, then I'm going to get the other cards that have swarm abilities. So yeah, I think it's good. I mean, I think it can be overused, obviously, but it's a tool like any other, and it has its uses. And I think it's fine. As far as using them as components, as long as the components are general enough, yeah, I think it's fine. I guess what you want to be careful with interfaces is that if you're implementing roughly the same code for the interface every time you implement it, then that's an indicator that maybe it should not be an interface. Let's see. Let's turn down the speed. I don't know if this is going to work, but let's see. Steer force is too high. Have you tried getting any YouTubers to play the playtest? No, I don't want to do that just yet because I want to save doing that for like when I do the real marketing push, you know? So yeah, I just don't want to, like, you know, if a YouTuber, if I reach out and say, hey, play my game Alchemortis, and then it's just a playtest version, and then I want that same YouTuber to play it again, they may say, I already played this one, you know? So I just want to, if a YouTuber picks it up and plays it, then that's fine. But I don't want to, like, specifically reach out to people just yet, you know what I mean? I don't know if this is going to work. Let's see. Is this changing the scale? What is this doing? Oh, it's tweaking the width. Why is it doing that? I'm gonna try something else here. Instead of doing this, one in the X, 0 in the Y. See if that looks a little bit nicer. Are boss souls meant to be alchemized or played as normal cards? They are reagents, so they're meant to be alchemized. Oh, that did not work the way that I thought it would. Oh, because I probably need to change this one here too. Now that's not working at all. Nope, that is not working. Okay. Well, I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll just keep trying it. Let's see. Let's just do, let me try this. Foreground, so this will be background. Run overview ghost placeholder. Dang it. Run overview ghost. Oh, and I'm going to need to configure the colors and everything too. Can I do editable children here? I don't know if that works actually. Load as placeholder. All right, let's just make this a little bit easy here. This texture, we want a texture 2D. Okay, so let's do... Okay, so let's build this. Copy this. Paste that in here. And then we'll paste this one as unique. Okay. Change this color to that. I guess I could have just used colors instead of a gradient, but that's all right. I may want to change that later. Spawn background trail. Okay. I still don't think this is going to work, but we'll see. Hello, Ribdo. Good morning. Just wanted to say I enjoyed your new video on rendering servers. I've been going through your C# grid-based puzzle tutorial. Great pace and depth. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for taking the course. Appreciate that. Another dev enjoying calm lo-fi music to stay in the flow. High five. Yeah. Hello, Chamberlain Pie. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Let's change this 4 to 8. I don't know if this is going to work, honestly. Might have to just take a different approach to this. Let's just go in a different direction here. Let's try making them chunky. Yeah, this is not going to work. I could do these, though, around here. Okay, this is not going to work. Let's just put this here. Let's take a different approach here. I'm going to just see if I can at least introduce this element somewhere. And we'll go to the run overview ghost placeholder. Let's turn this down to 2 and 4. Let me just see what that looks like. Also, I signed up for the C# grid-based puzzle course on Udemy. Oh, nice. Yeah. Enjoying it so far, even the subtle tips like arranging the editor panels and filtering the nodes. Nice, yeah. Glad you like it. Put this down here. Could change the lifetime. We can turn the speed down. Turn on the lifetime. So we may be able to salvage this and use it for something else, but it's not turning out the way that I thought it would. I have a bunch of errors too. We'll fix those errors in a second. This is one of those screens where it's probably going to take me quite a while to get it looking good, because I just don't know what to do with it, you know? Turn this down. That reminds me, I need to get back to your Udemy C# course. I'm in that dangerous part of Godot knowledge, comfortable enough, but still knowing too little. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. What are we gonna do? I should write down 2. Well, turn the tether radius down. Let's change this random timer. That looks all right, but yeah, I don't know. Dang, this is gonna be a hard screen. This is gonna be a hard one to figure out. Because the problem is I have like, I mean, I think I could do some kind of like art in here. I think that would work. But I've got all this empty space over here on the sides. I mean, what I could do is I could draw a piece of art here, like a tree and some gravel or whatever, and then maybe do that sun motif in the sky again with the character platform there. Fill out, like, make it, you know, bigger, and then push those off to the side. I could either make this bigger, or I could do 2 panels side by side here. Still need like a quit to menu button here. Actually, what I could do is if I draw a little scene here. Yeah, if I draw a little scene there. I could make it like a diegetic thing again where you click somewhere in here to go back to the menu. The other thing too is like I need to differentiate between defeat and victory, so I think what I might need to do is maybe a drawn scene is the way to go here. Make it a little scene here with some art. And then I could do something obviously different for the victory screen. So I could introduce more color into the victory version of the screen. I may also take maybe this like patrol flag shader, put like an Alchemortis flag on some rubble or something. Or just put it in the background. And then for those wispies, what I could do, if I go to my resurrection container, I could use like the blue wispies for victory. So just inject more color. Inject more color into the screen on victory, maybe? Yeah, I think that might be the way to go. So yeah, I can basically just like shift these over and then do a scene here. Yeah, I might have to do some like mock-up, like take a screenshot of this and just start drawing stuff and see what happens, but yeah. This is going to be a hard one. I don't think these trails are working, so I'm just going to undo this. Get rid of that. I mean, I basically don't need any of this now. I guess I'll keep the run overview ghost for now because I may want to use that again. But yeah, as far as that screen, we actually didn't end up changing much of anything. There's my goat. Like to see progress you make. You inspired me into going into content creation. Thank you, bro. Yeah, you're welcome. Kiwinium. You're welcome. Glad to hear that. What screen is this? It's the run overview. So that's the screen you'll see when the run is over, either because of victory or because of death. So yeah, I think the only thing to do there is just add some art for that screen. I think that's really all I can do. As far as like maybe, you know, I could maybe add some like noise effect to the edges of the screen or something, but yeah, we'll have to figure that out. Anyway, there are more statistics that I want to track on that screen. So maybe we'll just work on the technical side of things, like how to track that information. We want to track like total blood earned and all that stuff. So yeah, anyway, we'll work on that. We'll just add some random statistics into the game so I could show that in the post-run breakdown. But anyway, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and then when we come back, we could take a look at doing that. Just add some more statistics to that statistics overview section of the screen, and then I'm going to have to, probably this afternoon, just spend time trying to figure out the visual side of that, because it's just not working. It's too empty right now. I just need to figure that out. So anyway, I'll be right back in 3 minutes and we'll continue on. All right, I'm back. Okay, so let's do some additional statistics tracking. It's not the most glamorous thing in the world, but that's game dev for you, you know? It's not all devlogs and Instagram reels. Sometimes it's bashing your head against the keyboard doing the most monotonous, mundane stuff possible. Anyway, no, it's not that bad, honestly. It's actually kind of fun for me to track these statistics because it's going to touch a lot of the things. So like I have to add JSON property names for this. Counters. Do I want to do... I wonder if I should just add this to the counters, honestly. Counters. Yeah, these are just going to be raw counters. So if I do statistic counters, so let's do this. Let's do public const string. Let's do string enemies defeated. Enemies defeated. So let's just do to implement the below. So we have enemies defeated. What else do we want to do? Const string blood earned equals blood earned. Public const string blood spent. Public const string residue earned. Residue spent. Public const string resurrection stones earned. Resurrection stones spent. This will also directly correlate. Well, maybe we should separate those because I could see a situation in the future where there's some kind of game mechanic that costs a resurrection stone, but it's not a resurrection. So we'll do resurrections used. We'll just do resurrections used, something like that. Any other suggestions for statistics that we want to do? Public const string cards acquired. So they're called items now, but in the source code, it's all still it's using the card language. So in the source code, I'm going to continue using cards for anything that's internal and not player facing, just because that maintains consistency with what I have. I think the worst thing that you could do is like you rename something that's player facing and then you don't update the existing code, but then going forward, you start using that new name. That just adds confusion, right? So I think it's really important to just maintain consistency with your naming and your terminology in the code base, even if that terminology is different when it actually ends up being player facing, right? So anything player facing is called items. So that's what players will see in the game if I fixed everything. But in the code base, it's always called cards. Same with residue, right? It's called dust in the player facing sense, but it's called residue in the source code. So that's just my opinion. You want to be consistent in the source code to the greatest extent possible. Hello, Vanek. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. You have Instagram? I don't have Instagram, no. Will you participate in Ludum Dare? When is that happening? I do like Ludum Dare a lot. Ludum Dare 57. What? There's no Ludum Dare happening. I don't see it on the schedule. Unless is it doing it like on itch or something? Yeah, Ludum Dare is a little bit weird because the creator like stopped it and then resurrected it and then stopped it again. I don't know what's going on there. I do love that game jam though when it happened. I always participated, but I don't see it anywhere. My company has 3 names for the same thing. It's so fun, yeah. Yeah. Ludum Dare is like, yeah, that was like when I started participating in Ludum Dare, that's when I started getting much better at making games. Like that feedback loop of like you work on a game feverishly for like 3 days or whatever, and then you get like basically instant feedback from other players. It's like a miniature, like it's a highly compressed like actual game release schedule, right? Like you've got to manage your time, you've got to prioritize, you've got to polish and focus on things, and then you release it and you get feedback. And a lot of times the feedback is very negative because it's like you didn't do a good job. And so it's like a perfect little incubate. I mean, this is true of all game jams, but it's like a perfect little like sandbox environment for you to like speed run the game creation process from like initial conception to public release. And there's so much you can learn from that that you can then take to your long-term projects that you intend to release. So I started getting a lot better at game dev just from doing game jams, because I started to get a feel for like when I'm building games, how players are going to receive it, just based on like the negative feedback that I would get and the positive feedback that I would get from the game jam comments. So yeah, definitely, I highly recommend doing game jams, at least a handful of them. Like if you could do like one game jam a year, I think you'll find that it's a very valuable experience. LD59, 4 days, 12 hours. Why am I not seeing that on the Ludum Dare page? Then, I don't know. But I mean, I do want to participate, but I probably shouldn't, because I need to focus on Alchemortis. When Alchemortis is released, I think what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of a chill break and participate in game jams and stuff. But right now it's all Alchemortis all the time. Alchemortis. Anyway, any other statistics we want to track for now? Enemies defeated, blood earned, blood spent, residue earned, residue spent. Oh, alchemizations. Do I already have that? Alchemy completed count, I do. Okay. Shop items purchase count, player deaths, perfect runs. Okay, cool. Okay, all right, cool. Let's just focus on getting these things implemented then. So combat victory event handler, so we could just do this. I'm going to create some helper methods in here. Global statistics dot total run statistics dot get counter. Items upgraded to max tier. A little bit of a tangent, but that's okay. Just making sure the AI is doing this correctly. Okay. I'm also going to do run statistics. Let's do an increment counter, public void increment counter. Yeah, that'll work. So anywhere where I'm doing this, let's do run statistics dot increment counter. Alchemy completed count. Run statistics dot increment counter. Shop items purchased count. Run statistics. Increment counter. Items upgraded to max tier. Oh, we already have combat victory here. Notify combat 1. I don't know what this is. Oh, I see. Run statistics dot increment counter statistics counters dot enemies defeated. Let's rename this actually to combat victories. Okay, so let's go to blood earned now. I may change these signals now. Blood change, let's do int old amount, int new amount. Oh, we don't need to do that. Residue, oh, I don't want this. Residue changed, blood changed, resurrection stones changed, int old amount. Okay. Old stones. That's kind of cool. Okay, blood changed. I mean, that's going to break in all kinds of places, I think. On display. Oh, no, it didn't. Interesting. Okay, we'll go to the run statistics manager then. We need to do var currency manager is equal to this.get currency manager. Currency manager connect to blood changed, on blood changed, residue changed, resurrection stones changed. So the way I'm tracking my statistics is I just have like this run statistics manager. Yeah, Alchemortis, yeah. I have this run statistics manager here, and this this is just a node that sits in the tree. And then what I do is I just connect to various game events, and I just hook into that to increment the statistics counters. And then if there isn't an event for the kind of statistic that I want to track, I introduce an event for it. So the idea is that this run statistics manager is just being purely reactive. It's just being purely reactive to what's happening in the game. And that way I don't need to scatter like statistics tracking all throughout the code base. Like basically all of my statistics tracking is contained within this class. Because you don't want to be in a situation where like all of your statistics are just scattered throughout the whole code base. Like that's just a little bit too unworkable, because then you're like, where am I tracking this again? Where am I tracking? But if you're just doing it in response to an event being emitted or a signal being emitted, then you can see everything you're tracking all in one place. And if you need to change something about how your tracking is working, you just edit this file basically. So that's the way to do it. Yep, you should listen to me. Yep, you should listen to me. You know, you know. You would listen to me if you knew what's good for you. Imagine if I was actually like that. Goodness gracious. I almost feel bad for saying that jokingly. Almost, though. Okay. So we've got those going on. Run statistics. Goodbye, everything. Oh. So we got blood earned, resurrections. Okay, so resurrections used. So I think I have an event for this as well, if I'm not mistaken. Game events dot instance dot connect to player. We are tracking player deaths. We don't have a player resurrection though. Run manager. Emit signal player resurrected. So I already have an event for that. So what I could do is I could just do var run manager. We put the run manager in here. Run manager dot connect to player resurrected on player resurrected. Scroll all the way down here. Run statistics, increment counter, resurrections. Do I want to do resurrections used? Let's just do resurrections. Okay, and then cards acquired. Yeah, so anytime we get a new card. That one is going to be a tricky one because I don't really have a way of knowing. Actually, that one's going to be kind of tricky. That one's going to be tricky for a number of reasons. One reason is that the alchemy... So it's not just as simple as saying when a card ends up on the combat board or the inventory board, increment that counter, because I could move cards between the two, right? If I move a skeleton from the inventory to the combat board, that's not an acquisition of a new card, right? So new cards are really only acquired when I get a new card from a new card source. So that would be like the combat rewards. That would also be from like booster packs and stuff. But I also can't just say, oh, if the card initially originates from a board that is not owned by the player, like from you know, a shop or whatever. I have to account for the fact that like there's the upgrade event too, which has its own board. And so like, what does that count as? So basically, I need to like very tightly define when a new card is acquired. But the problem is that there are several places in the code base where that can happen. And I almost need to like very specifically target a board and say, this board is a source of new cards. So when you detect a card being transferred from this board to another board that the player owns, track that, right? So I could do that. I could just go through the game and I could say, okay, where are all the boards where new cards are being introduced? I can't do something like the first time a card appears on a board, log it in a hash set, and then just don't count it again. And the reason is because when the alchemy, when alchemy happens, it actually creates new card instances. So it destroys the cards that go into the alchemy and recreates them with new properties. You don't notice that as a player, it looks like the same card coming out, but it's a different reference under the hood. So every time I do alchemy and I transfer it over back to my inventory, that would count as a new card acquisition, which obviously isn't correct either, right? So one fix is to just make it so that alchemy is not actually destroying any card references. But that, I'm kind of like reticent to touch the alchemy system in that way because like I've already built it around the assumption that new cards are being built, so I don't know what side effects it's going to have if I say now the card is the same reference and it just comes out the other end, right? So I don't want to do that. One potential option is I have in my boards here, I have these export variables. I could potentially mark a board, like I could have an export variable here that says, you know, private bool is new card source or something like that. And then I could detect any board that is transferred, or any board that is marked with this, and then a card from that board is transferred over. to the player board, then just increment the counter by 1. The problem here is that, what is the problem here? I mean, this is the kind of thing where I'm going to have to go in and make sure that I'm checking this. Like, I think the thing that's kind of like making me hesitate is that this is going to be very easy to overlook in the future. So let's say that I introduce a new way that players can earn cards and they use a board, right? If I just forget to implement that or check this little box, it's gonna break, right? It's just not gonna track that. And especially since this has no noticeable gameplay impact, it's just tracking a statistic. That is something that could very easily fly under the radar, and I'm just like not doing it correctly. So I'm trying to think, is there a nice, clean, universal way that I could implement this where as I'm adding new things to the game, it would automatically pick up and detect that, yeah, this is a new card that's entering. That's actually a deceptively tricky problem. I have been stumped by a simple incrementing counter yet again. There aren't many devs like that out there, but I have encountered a few. I don't hire them if it's up to me. Yeah, for some reason, I mean, I guess I know why, but like development professions tend to attract very, very arrogant and opinionated people. Maybe I won't say what I was going to say, but I have my suspicions. Do you have your managers as singletons? For a long while, I had the idea singletons are the devil, but I'm starting to think I might need to change my ways, or rather globally accessible. My managers, for the most part, I mean, I'm kind of mixing and matching. Like my artifact manager is a singleton with a bunch of static methods, but there's just like one instance under the hood. But they're not like true singletons in the sense that they're always available. Like the artifact manager singleton is only going to be valid in the context of a current run. If I try to access the artifact manager from the main menu, it will be a null instance. So it's like semi-global, I guess. But I think like the nice middle ground, I think, is that, you know, it'd be ridiculous for me to try to pass the artifact manager through the node tree to like get it to all the places where it needs to be, right? Like that is just going to be far more complicated and messy and spaghetti than just making it globally accessible. But I think it's still wise to guard against some of the side effects of something being global. So for instance, in here, I'm doing a very explicit check. So if I ever need to access the instance that this singleton represents, I actually make that a publicly accessible field or property or whatever the C# term is, where it does an is instance valid check first. And if that instance is valid, it just returns it. Otherwise, it returns null. So at least in this situation, I'm guaranteed that as long as this value is not null, it is an active node in the scene tree, right? It hasn't been freed. It's like there. It's actually in the scene tree. And then in all of my static methods, I do a check. If I say if instance is null, I make sure to log an error, but then I return a default value that ensures that the game doesn't break. So if I try to call get all artifacts on this singleton, but there's no artifact manager, I'm logging so that I can see, oh, I tried to access this in a context where it's invalid, but I'm also just returning an empty list so that the game continues to function as normal, right? So I think that's a nice middle ground. It's like, it's very easy to access, it's very easy to use, but I do have certain like guardrails in place to make sure that I'm always calling these methods in a proper context, right? So I don't know if that helps, but yeah, I think, you know, singletons can be problematic, but I think that as long as you're using them carefully and as long as you're putting these kind of guardrails in place, I think it's largely fine. I think it's largely perfectly acceptable. So hopefully that helps. I don't know. Hopefully that helps. Dang, that new devlog I posted is doing numbers. It's already up to almost 3,000 views in the first 2 hours. Dang. Yep. Niche e-celeb status reinforced. That is helpful. I guess it's like all things, make sure you're not overdoing it or handling it poorly. Yeah, I think where people get into trouble with singletons is where they're storing a bunch of game state into like one singleton, and that game state is being like... So let me back up. The reason why I like to make this a singleton, if you want to use that word, is so like this artifact manager is not actually valid until it's added to the scene tree here. So here's the artifact manager, right? So it's a singleton in the sense that during a run I can access it in sort of like a global sense. But the nice thing about this being a node that's attached to the run manager is that when I free this scene, all of that state in that artifact manager also gets freed, because the state is all attached to the node and not to the static class, right? The static class, or the static methods on the class, I should say, are basically just helpful wrappers to access the instance data. And so what that means is that when I quit to menu, I don't have to worry about like stale state hanging around in my global, you know, static singleton. I don't have to manage that state. That state just gets automatically cleaned up when I end a run and automatically refreshed when I go into a new run, right? I think where people get into trouble with like global singletons is like they're trying to store all of this like game state in static, you know, properties or you know, data structures or whatever. And then you have to manage that state yourself. Like when certain things happen in the game or when the player quits back to the menu, you got to make sure to clean all that up. And like you could easily elevate something to a global state value that really doesn't need to be global state. So I like to create these very narrow managers. Like artifact manager is just about maintaining the player's artifact inventory and also triggering the artifacts when certain game events happen. That's basically all it's responsible for. And again, because all that data is attached to the instance and not to the static class, or not to a static class, I should say, I get the automatic like destruction and rebuild of the state when the game is restarted, right? So I think, I mean, like I said, I think this is a nice middle ground here. I have the ease of use of like having it globally accessible with the guardrails to make sure that I'm not calling it in any context where it's not available. And I also don't have to worry about managing the state in a global sense. It's like it's only global to this run is basically the way that it's set up. We'll be checking out the vid after the stream. Love seeing more advanced Godot stuff. Yeah. So anyway, I do have a meeting to get to here in 10 minutes. So I'm going to hop off for now. I have a lot to figure out this afternoon. But the run statistics, these should all be being tracked now. I just got to add these to that run overview screen now. But I'm going to focus this afternoon on making that run overview screen more visually appealing. I mean, this is like one of the last major features that I need to get right is like the final, like the end run screen, like defeat or victory, and make that feel very satisfying, make the player want to linger on that screen to like look at their cards and look at their stats and everything. That just needs to feel, I think, like that's one of those parts of the game that I think needs to feel very satisfying, especially if you win. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time on that, but that's just like one of the last major things that needs to be implemented for the game to be considered complete. And then the other system being the difficulty tier increase, like the whatever ascendant system, if we want to borrow the Slay the Spire terminology. So like those are basically the last two major things that need to be in place. And then from that point onward, it'll just be about doing all the stuff that's necessary for release. So filling the game with all the content that I want to be there, adding controller support, adding Steam achievements, Steam, cloud save support, all that stuff. So we're getting very close. I'm hoping that within like the next month or something, the main focus of these streams is just going to be creating loads of content for the game. And then, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Stupid question. I assume Run Manager is assigned as a node in your main game object. Yeah, Run Manager is here. So this is actually the root when you go into a run. This run manager is like the root, like that's the root of the entire game, basically. Oops. I should have built this beforehand. Do I want to fix this? I don't like to do any commits where like it's broken. Okay, let's just do this. Let's get reset soft head. Soft head sounds like an insult to me. I'm just going to rewrite that history. I don't like to push any commits where the game doesn't build. So we'll just fix that up. We'll just do a force push because we live on the edge. Okay. Amazing stream, thank you. I think it's a good way to handle managers. Appreciate your input. Yeah, for sure. Always happy to help when I can. Anyway, that will be it for the stream today. If you're interested, definitely check out It's not loading. Why is it not loading? There we go. Definitely check out Alchemortis if you're interested. The playtest is available now, so all you got to do is go to the Steam page, click this request access button. You have a week to try it, so Monday of next week, I will be revoking access to the playtest for everybody, and then it will be, you know, another month or two, several months before the next playtest. But hopefully we'll get to the point soon where the playtests are no longer necessary, and then the next time you get to play Alchemortis will just be when it's released. So we're getting there. We're getting there very, very, very slowly, but we're getting there. But anyway, levels, etc. get assigned as children of the run manager. Yeah, actually, let me go ahead and show you that real quick. So I actually have a main scene, and the main scene handles transitions. So this main scene is always present, and it has several methods like change to main menu, change to character select. And the reason why I have this is because I need to pass along contexts to the new scenes. So for example, when I go to the run overview, I have context in here, the run statistics and run save model, that I need to be able to show what the player finished with, right? So I can pass the context to that run overview after it's been loaded, because it's just passing through this main node. So I have my game running. If I look at the remote scene tree here, you can see that I've got all my auto loads here. So these all are auto loads, and then there's the main, and then run managers underneath that, right? And then this is everything that you play is inside of this like sub tree here. And then if I go to abandon run, you'll see that that has changed now. That run manager is gone. It's been freed. And now we have the run overview scene. And then if I quit to menu, which I can't do yet from this screen, this would become the main menu scene, so on and so forth. So I basically just wrote my own scene transition system so that I could pass context from main to whatever scene gets created, and allows me to pass data between scenes and whatnot. Hope that helps. Anyway, I gotta get going. Thanks again, everyone, for your support. The links for everything are in the description below, and I hope you all have a great day. Oh gosh, we have one more question. So far, I've made small projects, small games like everyone recommends on YouTube, but I want to know, even the courses on, for example, Godot I've watched, it's always small scope, but I want to start big game. So what should I take into consideration? That's a good question. I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by big game. I think games can, like, I don't know, would you consider Alchemortis to be a big game? I don't know if I would. I think Alchemortis has a narrow set of mechanics. It's just that it's a lot of effort because there's a lot of things going on visually. There's a lot of content. There's a lot of abilities. But it's not a big game per se. I mean, if you just were to list out all the mechanics of the game, it's relatively simple. So, I guess the question is, what do you want to make a big game? Like, what is the game that you want to make? Because you can make a game that's a larger effort, that's more feature-rich and more content-packed, without it necessarily being a super complex thing, and it just takes more time. It's a small game that's scalable. Yeah, that's kind of what I would say. But anyway, yeah, I think you can make a game that's a longer term effort that has more going on. That's not necessarily a big game. Like if you just keep it like very narrowly focused on like maximizing a handful of mechanics, right? So Alchemortis is like, it's mostly about like maximizing your board DPS through the alchemy system. And that's kind of like what the entire game revolves around. Like everything kind of is, or at least I'm trying to make everything serve that purpose. And so it's a large effort because there's a lot of content and everything, but it's still not like, it doesn't have all these wild systems. It's not an open world RPG, you know what I mean? So I think if you just maintain some focus, just like focus in on a handful of mechanics and polish those up and add as much to the game as is necessary to serve those mechanics, you'll end up with a bigger game that is still manageable. I guess that would be my advice. Core concept and mechanics are fairly simple. Yeah. I mean, code architecture, because I think I would not create game jam game, a commercial game that needs months to make. Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's right, Malicious Rabbit. So anyway, I hope that helps. I gotta get going now, though. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.